Okay, so this is 4.2, shifts in the demand curve. So what can cause shifts in demand is like if a heat wave or something hits an area and causes like people to want to buy more ice cream or something, you know, because it's hot, so you're gonna want to get cooled down. So yeah, or maybe bags of ice. I don't know for what. And then this is a graph. What causes a shift in demand? Again, like the heat wave and stuff, natural disasters and that stuff. But then also like if new goods are released, like the new graphics cards from NVIDIA, they were just released probably 2 weeks ago, and yeah, so and that they sold out completely, so that caused an extremely high demand for them. And then another one is like Apple. When they released their new phones and new watches, they were all sold out immediately because there was an extremely high demand for them. And then also another thing that causes a demand change is income. So income has been raising over the years, so people have been buying more things, causing a larger demand in a lot of items. And then customer expectations, like so if you're wanting something that's made out of good products, you're expecting to pay more money. So I don't know, I actually don't know, but I know Fruit of the Loom is sold in Walmart. It's about average quality of product, so quite a few people buy them because they're a good price with decent quality of product. Whereas Supreme, yeah, they're just expensive, so that causes and also if prices will go up at a future date, it'll cause people to want to buy that product quicker and in the time before the price goes up. So that also causes a raise in demand. And then population, like in China, there's a much higher demand for food in China than there is in the U.S. So they have to import a lot of their agricultural products. And then also with clothes compared to China and the U.S., there's like 1.8 billion people in China, whereas there's 370 in the U.S., so there's quite a bit of a difference there. And then demographics, like what age you are, can change what items you want, and the gender, your race, what job you have, so how much money you make, and then that goes with income level, and then the population of how many people, and then homeowner or renter, that's pretty much just goes with income because, yeah. And then how many children you have, meaning more people you have to get products for, so that causes a higher demand. Same thing for marital status. And then people or companies will target specific groups that have specific ones, like teenagers now with iPhones. Apple there. They don't have to advertise much because, it's Apple. But then also if you have really good advertising, more people are more likely to get that product, causing a raise in the demand for it. And then when products complement each other, like if Apple selling the iPhone and then they sell the Apple AirPods to complement each other, they make a lot more money from that, but they complement each other. Okay, and then substitutes, it's like iPhone and Android style phones. Android style phones are generally a lot cheaper, so people generally go for those if they cannot afford the expensive iPhones. So, yeah.
All right, so as Eric was kind of indicating, there are definitely different shifts in demand. Ceteris paribus means all things held constant, okay? By that, we have maybe 2 points on any demand graph, all right? Let's say that this is a demand graph for M&Ms, okay? At higher price points, again, using the law of demand, we actually want less, all right? So let's say that the price of it is $4 for a bag of M&Ms, all right? Less people are going to be more inclined to not buy it than to buy it. But if it's $1, obviously our quantity demanded will increase. Now, let's say that it's stated that M&Ms will cure cancer. It's a new thing, guys. You eat more M&Ms, you're less likely, and if you have cancer, it'll cure it for you. Obviously, that's false, okay? And this is an advertisement for M&M, brought to you by M&M, trademarked, okay? Anyway, so it'll actually create a whole new demand curve that is going to be much higher in terms of price and quantity demanded, all right? So therein lies the all things held constant. When we drop ceteris paribus, which only takes price into effect, we now take certain outside factors. And if we find out that M&Ms were to cure or maybe even make it so you never get cancer in your life, the demand for M&Ms would go way up, but so would the price, okay? So our new price points would be way up to $8, and our quantity demanded from this point to this point would definitely increase, okay? So a shift into demand, and Eric kind of went through each of the different parts of it. So then he broke down like what causes a shift, income levels, okay? Income levels, so there's the income effect versus the substitution effect, okay? The substitution effect says that, well, if this isn't true about M&Ms and they don't cure cancer and they're just M&Ms like they are, and they raise to $3 for a little package, which right now they're at $1.50. So if they double in price, we are less inclined to buy them, but we still like candy, so we'll substitute it with another product very similar to candy or to M&Ms. All right. So the income effect though says that if M&Ms go to $3 and we still buy M&Ms for $3, we have less money in our pocket to buy other things. Okay. So there's the substitution effect, and I believe this is found on page it was in section 1, okay, and it's on page 89 again. So page 89, if you go back to that, there's substitution effect and income effect. All right, and we're going to buy less or more of another good versus, okay? Now, other things that can cause a shift in a demand curve, like consumer expectations. So he used Fruit of the Loom, which are inferior products to normal goods. So inferior, we would say Fruit of the Loom, okay, to something like Supreme. But the, materials used in each of these are going to be much more. These are much heavier than you would say the Fruit of the Loom are, okay? Now, that being said, let's say that gas prices, we all buy gas, those of you guys that drive. Let's say that they're a stable $2.82 right now, okay, which they are, about $2.82 I think is what I paid. And then gallons of gas. I mean, at a market level, we can do thousands upon thousands of gallons of gas that are bought just down in Sydney at Western Convenience a day, right? But what happens if we know that, and if you read certain articles and things like that, we can kind of gain knowledge as to how it might change in the future. So what if we said gas is going to go down to $1.37 by next week because our stock market right now is crashing, prices are going to deflate, jobs are going to be lost because of this, and we're going into a recession right now, right? And with a recession becomes lower prices because people are less inclined to go out and buy. Thus, they have to deplete their price in order to get rid of their product. Not always a good thing because when they deplete their price, their profit margins, they suffer, then job loss occurs, okay? So we would massively decline our buying until we hit this new $1.37. So a whole new shift, okay? The demand becomes less, quantity demanded, and the price becomes less at this particular time. Now, next week, what happens to the demand for gas? It increases, all right? Carson said she literally thinks the gas is going to go down, so she hasn't been filling her gas. So hopefully she's driving less, okay, in order to hold on to what she has now in hopes to get it for cheaper, okay? Farmers do this the reverse way, okay? They hold on now for less, and then they try to sell when our market increases, okay? So we as consumers and we as suppliers go on opposite directions, okay? Other reasons that a population, okay? So let's take the population of Sydney, right? Well, at one point, Cabela's employed, I believe, around 2,000 employees. Okay, they said that they are going to have 500 jobs remaining here at corporate or whatnot, somewhere around that area. So we've had a decline in our population in our, if you look at a microeconomic level in our town, all of a sudden you can start to see businesses dwindling, right? You can see them getting out of town. There's a lot of for sale signs around Sydney right now. So it's not necessarily a good thing for Sydney itself, but hopefully the turnaround happens within the next, 2 to 5 years, all right, where new businesses come in, because we have a lot of land, we have a lot of labor here, all right, and those are good indications, again, economic indications, that people can come in and actually be successful here. So this would actually be our scenario, where we would, at certain price points would be higher before, and now we can start to assume that we can get lower prices, but there is also a lower quantity demanded for it. So the shift occurred left if it goes down. So if I say population decreases, shift occurs to the left. And if anything increases, so let's say that a new business takes up and moves into corporate offices and starts conducting all within Sydney, you can expect, again, quantity demanded to go up and prices to increase, okay, around us, all right? So we had to talk about New York, why things in New York are so expensive. It's because the population is there, all right? Direct competitors probably don't necessarily set in New York City their prices too low, just because the cost of renting a building, doing those things, labor, it's just so expensive to live in a city, okay? And we'll do one more here. Consumers' taste in advertising, we call them fads throughout the years, yo-yos, fidget spinners, Beanie Babies we talked about, Tamagotchis, Slinkies, all those old fun toys that are very popular for a short period of time, but then go away, right? And again, right at the beginning, and you guys can use fidget spinners because it's most probably relevant, it was up here. It should have been here, okay? It is a fidget spinner, and now you can buy them for relatively nothing, all right? But during their peak, all right, the price was very high, so it was a shift to the right of what it should have been, and the quantity demanded was way high, right? This was certainly, especially in, I know that my 5th grade nephew had one. He loved it, and then all the way up through high school, right? So quantity demanded is high, and again, price is high. Now, as the fad becomes less and less desirable, we can kind of tend towards our equilibrium, which we'll get to in chapter 6, but it's going to have another reverse effect. So it's going to go way down, and then now the quantity demanded and the price is so low because they're trying to get rid of their surplus, because during a fad, you want to kind of create as much as you want because you want to stay up with popularity. And now they're trying to get rid of these. Has anybody seen any recent prices on fidget spinners?
Like $2.
Like $2, right? When they first came out, depending on like what you had on it or what kind, they were upwards of, like, I saw one for $15. I was like, who would buy that? All right. So that being said, we have a decrease in the price and a definite decrease in quantity demanded. All right. Your substitutions and your income effects still come into play here. Know a few of the scenarios. Do your questions on from the section 2. You guys again are up to critical thinking, which is 1 through 6.